ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। कन्नडं चैव नासं अष्टप्राविशन्ति अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनस्य श्रीमते हस्ते सारस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारवादी पास्टर प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम राम। भागवतम कैंटो 5 verse 5। आमो मंजर्मदो भवः शोकमोहादयः कर्मबन्धश्च तद्भुतः। The mind is the root cause of lust, anger, pride, greed, lamentation, illusion, and fear. Kama, Nyu, Ada, Lobha, Shoka, Moha, Bhaya, Adaya. Combined, these constitute bondage, karma bandha, bondage to fruitive activity. What learned man would put faith in the mind? So, some more discussion about mind. So, yesterday, important, please remember this. He gives his mind a chance. A chance. A chance is important. Not give our mind even one chance to act independently, and then it will just, and all these anarthas will enter our minds again, and it will doubtless, there is more about this. Mind is the root cause of anger, pride, greed, lamentation. So, well, yeah, all these technically they are stem because of false ego, but they are all manifested in false ego's presence is seen by the behavior of the mind. And the mind displays all these qualities. The root cause of lust, anger, pride, greed, lamentation, fear. Combined, these constitute bondage, karma bandha. No learned man puts faith in his mind. The mind is the original cause of material bondage. It is followed by many enemies, such as anger, greed, lamentation. The best way to control the mind is to engage it always in Krishna's. Avaimana Krishna Padara Vindayoho. Since the followers of the mind bring about great we should be up to anyone. There was one question. What is the connection between mind and Maya? Um, so, or actually, Devavati asked, mind, Maya seem inseparable. They almost look like one. Then how can Atma become free from material bondage? Because we can see here that the mind is the root cause of all these, and these constitute material bondage. So Devavati's question was, how do we actually get over this bondage? So very insightful answer. Third, actually answer is Tivrena Bhakti Yogena. Now we've heard this multiple times. Right now, the um, important thing to note here is, what is this Tivra? What is this Tivra? Anybody wants to share? What does this Tivra mean? Yes.
A constant, Prabhu. Tivra means
Intense, Prabhuji. It is intense and
Intense, constant. Okay.
Yeah, it should be spontaneous so that it doesn't give time to do anything else. And only that is the activity which should be predominant.
Okay. So, okay. Yes, but that's well. So basically, the very interesting practical answer. Intense. Tivra means intense. How intense should it be? How intense should our devotional service be? And what does intense actually mean? Both have to be answered.
Yes.
So, yeah. Yeah, somebody wanted to say something.
Yeah. Is it that all the unwanted things of the mind should not come while we do that activity? It should be that intense.
We have to understand that the so okay, things should not come, but my question is, how intense?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
When you say intense, that you have nothing else. It's just your goal. It's like tan man usme laga hua. You just have to achieve it. Then you say, भाई तीव्र करना है मेरे को, ये बस काम खत्म करना है. Like you're possessed. Actually, it's so immense.
So the practical guidance, which is I found it very, very insightful, is how Tivra depends on how badly we are stuck. So the intensity should depend on how deeply we are materially stuck. The more materially we are stuck, the more intense our devotion is. Now, interestingly, we function the opposite, just the opposite. Meaning, we are very badly stuck. Our bhakti becomes most casual. Are we able to appreciate? Right? So the more badly we are stuck, the more intense our bhakti needs to be. It's simple, right? Like somebody has a disease, based on the intensity of the disease, the medicine intensity will also be given. Like high dosage will be given. Similarly, if we are badly stuck, then the intensity of our for bhakti should be maximum. It should be increased, high. This is the practical guidance. So how do we decide how tivra our bhakti has to be? Based on how badly we are stuck. So this has actually a lot of implications, this state. Like for example, so to engage mind always in Krishna. Now it's not just mind always in Krishna. It can also be body always in Krishna. Engage the body always in Krishna. For example, some people are too attached to their body, then they have to engage the body in Krishna consciousness so that they will come out of this attachment to the body. I mean, it could mean multiple things. Actually, it's a very deep practical thing. Just think about it, right? So, and for example, say somebody is very fond of eating food, then their focus should be tivra in that aspect. Somebody has some other problem. So the tivrata also will depend on our anartha. Which anartha, what type of anartha is more, maybe that aspect should become tivra. Very, very insightful actually. So Anyway, that's not directly connected to the verse being discussed, but the whole point is about we should not put faith in mind, and the only way we can actually control the mind is to engage always in Krishna consciousness with Tivrata. So if we are materially attached and we remain very casual about devotion, then it's not going to help us control the mind. So please don't think that this simply means that, okay, somehow I engage myself in Krishna consciousness all the time. Meaning I'm taking medicine, but I'm taking just 5 mg and I need like 250 mg, right? Or whatever that is, right? Then what is the use of that 5 mg? I'm taking that 5 mg, but it's not going to help me because my disease is much, much graver or more serious. So engage it always also doesn't simply mean that, okay, at whatever intensity you can engage all the time, that also will not help you. It should always be the same intensity as is the depth of our bond or our attachment. The more materially stuck we are, the more intense has to be, and all the time. Savai mana Krishna padara vindayo means engaging the mind always in Krishna with that intensity. That is the key. Actually, I had this question for a long time, saying that, okay, we are engaging in service. I was just thinking about my own situation. I was thinking, okay, it's been 4 years and I've been now engaging constantly in service. But while I made progress from where I was 4 years back, but not to not to desirable level. So I got the answer to that. He's saying that basically that means that the intensity needs to be increased. Intensity is not in line with our real attachment. It's very, very important. Please meditate on this. Think about what it means for your own practice of devotion. What aspects you have to intensify. For example, somebody is lazy. What should they do? Lazy. Like just, that is their bondage. What should that person do?
Get up early and do
Yeah, get up early.
Yeah.
Get up early, get up. Generally, these people, if somebody is doing service, they will not get up. They'll sit in one place. Right? Or they'll get up at like whatever, 6:30, 7. Meaning you are just, like caressing or taking care or, fondling your anartha. But the bhakti should go opposite to this anartha. Meaning, if lazy, then my bhakti should make me very active. Right? I don't know if anybody has any questions on this, because this is an important, something important I learned. So, thought of sharing. Is it clear? Anybody has any questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah,
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
yeah.
Huh. Prabhu, with respect to like what you mentioned, say maybe if we are lazy, then this is a thing what we need to do on the spiritual side to cut down on those. So like that, do we have any references? Because I also remember sometime you mentioning even if we are looking at Krishna, uh, there are certain aspects which can come down as material desires also.
Yeah, but intensity, right? The whole point is intensity, right? And one problem might have multiple solutions. It's not that. That's why I'm saying, it's not. It's not like we can document everything. It's just that we have to think, discuss based on each individual's problems, individual's reasons for bondage. what reasons we are bound up, then based on that, we need to discuss. We need to either introspect, contemplate, or discuss with other devotees so that we can come up with a list of things that we need to do.
Got it, Prabhu.
Right. So general solution for anything is to look at the beautiful form of the Lord. Just attract us. It will increase our attraction towards the Lord, and hence our attraction towards material things will reduce. That's a general. It'll work irrespective of what type of bondage. But if suppose say we are looking at the Lord for 2 minutes in our 24-hour day, how much will it help? Because we will not retain that. Though the Lord is super powerful, right? But our bondage, we are stuck more deeply. So 2 minutes of meditation on the Lord's form is possibly not going to be sufficient. The whole point here is that intensity, and figure out what is the bondage and find out what aspect your bhakti should become intense. So, for example, see somebody is not. I mean, as soon as you start reading, you will fall asleep. For example, he has that problem, right? Then the intensity should be on Shravanam. Meaning now you have to do tapasya to improve your Shravanam. Is that clear? So you have to take your anarthas head on, basically in other terms. Take it head on with an intensity which will destroy that anartha. Very, very nice. Okay. I had not thought about it. So you should not put faith in our mind. So, and like I said yesterday, mind is active all the time. Is active all the time. But don't trust the mind unless the mind is saying something which is in line with Shastra. Because many times we are confused whether should I trust the mind, should I not trust the mind. Generally, don't trust the mind and accept whatever mind is saying if it is in line with Shastra. Otherwise, reject it. For which we have to know what is being said in the Shastra. But overall, don't put faith in the mind. This faith in the mind, and this is being talked about. This is about conditioned soul, not a liberated soul. Liberated soul, the mind is spiritual, so there is no issue. But even then, previous verses said, even such a person, liberated person, also doesn't put faith in the mind. Which means, if mind is saying something which is not in line with Guru Sadhu Shastra, a learned man should reject it. Should not give it even a single chance to do some nonsense. So if we want to really control our mind, what should we do now? Can somebody summarize?
Yeah, we should forget about that thing and just continue in the intense devotional service so that we always remember Lord's name, Lord's form, and these other thoughts of fear, lust, anger, those things should basically take a backseat, and slowly those should get eradicated from the mind once we continue that intense devotional service every day and
Yeah.
always be situated in Krishna consciousness.
Let me rephrase this because this whole thing exactly doesn't happen the way right. Intensity means not trying to forget lust, anger, pride, greed, right? Or not. The intensity is about our external activity. Let me make this also. So, mind is internal, mind is subtle. But how does the Tibra activity manifest as physical activity? Could be physical activity, mental activity, meaning it is service. So, the intensity is in terms of the service. Intensity is in terms of sadhana. Now, in this, the focus has to be on the intensity. So the answer, because if we tell too many things, again the mind is confused. Simple. Perform intense devotional service. The extent of your, make your devotional service as much intense as is the intensity of your, or as is the depth of your bond. This is the answer. Okay. Don't worry about lust, anger, pride, greed, passion. Think. Just do intense devotional, then sadhana, seva, and the intensity should be based on how badly we are stuck. Okay, just register this. अथैवम् अखिललोकपाललालामो कणैर्जडवद्भवेशभाषा चरितैर्विलक्षितो योगिनां साम्पराय विधिम् अनुष्वकलेवरं विहासुरात्मन्यात्मानं संव्यवहितम् अर्थान्तरभावेना वीक्षमाण परतान् वृत्तिरुपररामा. For your understanding, this is prose, so will work for other shlokas. Lord Ṛṣabhadeva was the head of all kings and emperors within the universe, but assuming the dress and language of an avaduta, he acted as if dull and materially bound. Consequently, no one could observe his divine opulence. He adopted this behavior just to teach yogis how to give up the body. No one could observe his divine opulence. So this is one thing which is important. We don't externally don't go about revealing our position in devotion. Then also we don't want take an important position. Lord Ṛṣabhadeva was the head of all kings and emperors, but he went unseen by others. We assume the dress and language of an avaduta. Avaduta is higher than sannyasi. He just basically doesn't follow any social norm about dressing, eating, sleeping, nothing. So nobody will recognize, nobody will give importance to such a person. So he adopted this behavior just to teach yogis how to give the body, right? To become careless about the body, careless about how people treat us, etc., etc. Nonetheless, he maintained his original position as a plenary portion of Lord Vasudeva Krishna. Remaining always in that state, he gave up his pastimes of Lord. But if following in the footsteps of Lord Ṛṣabhadeva, one can give up his subtle body. Of course, this is following in the footsteps, not copying. He became Avaduta, he actually around naked, not eating, not caring really for his body. We can't do that. But we should understand the mood of detachment from this body, detachment from the comforts of this body, detachment from this subtle body, everything, and which is basically attachment. Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, Janma Karma Chandra. One knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and act. Not only take his birth again, my eternal. This is possible simply by keeping oneself an eternal servant. Keeping oneself. Meaning remaining an eternal servant of the Lord all the time. Not only during chanting or not only during Bhagavatam class. Remaining an eternal servant of the Supreme. Meaning means all the time. One must understand this constitutional portion and the constitutional portion. Well, both have the same spiritual identity. That means remembering that I am not this body. Sense gratification is being targeted to the body. But I am a servant. I am not supposed to gratify This body which is anyway not me. Maintaining oneself as a servant of the Supreme Lord, one should avoid rebirth in this material world. One keeps himself spiritually fit, thinks of himself as an eternal servant of the Lord, acts, not just think, acts on the cloud. He will be successful at the time he has to give. So the whole point is to keep ourselves spiritually fit, not physically fit. Of course, physically fit might also help us to keep ourselves spiritually fit, but the idea is that we should keep ourselves spiritually fit. Meaning all the time we should be thinking and acting on the platform of being a servant of Krishna. All the time. Like we said, don't give the mind even a single chance to act like master, to act like sense enjoyer. Follow the sadhana process intensely with tivrata. Then he will be successful at the time. Also, this verse is even just by trying to know the transcendental nature, one can attain the eternal. Because when one starts hearing about the transcendental nature of Krishna and his activities, he becomes so much attracted by it, and that he will want to go to him. And the desire has to manifest. The desire will manifest only when we hear and understand. Because Prabhupada in one lecture says, even just trying to know, even if you don't understand, just trying to know, meaning trying to hear about the Lord's appearance and activities can also take us back on that. Even if we are not able to. That means that we don't have so much of intellectual ability or not so. But still, because we are sincerely trying to know the transcendent, or we simply accept, saying that, okay, Krishna's form is transcendental, Krishna's activity is transcendental, and Krishna is in his own abode. I want to go there and serve him. Simple. That's all. Or at least that desire should manifest. The desire manifests, and the devotee is firmly understands this, just that the Lord's name, activities and appearances. Then he can also attain Lord's name. Sometimes what happens if somebody is too intelligent, then if his intelligence is not satisfied, then he will engage by devotion. Then his intelligence, he'll engage his intelligence in mundane things. So such people should go into the depth of the pastimes of the Lord, qualities of the Lord, etc., so that his intelligence will be satisfied and engaged in Krishna. But somebody who is very simple-hearted, who is not very intelligent, etc., they don't have to try to understand too much beyond their ability. Just here, yeah, okay, yeah, Krishna is the Supreme Lord, is transcendental, his appearance transcendental, and I'm an eternal servant, I want to serve him in his abode. That's all, over. And such simple-hearted devotees will just simply, they are sincere, they'll just stick to things. They will not try to use their freedom to do nonsense. And they will attain perfection. Actually, Lord Ṛṣabhadeva had no material body, but due to Yoga Maya, he considered his body material. This is just the Leela Shakti of the Lord. Therefore, because he played like an ordinary human being, he gave us the mentality of identifying with it, acting like a human being. So, generally, a yogi, the time of giving up his body, he should give up the mentality of identifying with the body. He should remain on the platform of identifying himself as the soul. So because he was acting like a human being, or in the role of playing the role of a human being, so he gave up the mentality of identifying himself with the body, which means he became callous to his bodily needs. Following this principle, he began to wander all over the world. Traveling, he came to the province of Karnataka, India, and passed through Konka, Venka, and Kutaka. He had no plan to travel this way, but he arrived near Kutaka Chala and entered a forest there. He placed stones within his mouth, began to wander through the forest naked and with his hair disheveled like a man. Crazy. While he was wandering about, a wild forest fire began. This fire was caused by the bamboos, which were being blown by the wind. In that fire, the entire forest near Takachala and the body of Lord Ṛṣabhadeva were burned to ashes. Such a forest fire can burn the external bodies of animals, but Lord Ṛṣabhadeva was not burned, although he apparently seemed so, because his body was spiritual, but apparently it looked so. Just like Krishna's final pastime. Looked like, some arrow hit his leg, and just he makes it look like that so that peace can misguide. Now, Ṛṣabhadeva is the super soul of all living entities. Soul is never burned by fire. Anybody's soul is never burned by fire, but because Lord Ṛṣabhadeva body was also spiritual. His body was also not burned. Stated in Bhagavad Gita, Adaj Choyam, soul is never burned. To Lord Ṛṣabhadev's presence, all the animals were also liberated from material engagement. The Supreme Lord is present, so even those animals which were there in that forest were also liberated. Power of Krishna. And actually, in Bhagavatam canto, very nice verse glorifying Bhagavatam. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Pranam Brahma Samhita. What is it? Puranam Brahma Samhitam Uttama Shloka Charitam Chakara Bhagavan Rishi Nishtesaya Lokasya Dhanyam Swastayanam Mahat. So here, Puranam Brahma Samhitam. So Bhagavatam is considered as an incarnate. And Prabhupada in that purport writes, one can derive from the study of Srimad Bhagavatam all benefits that are possible to derive from Krishna's personal presence. So, like Ṛṣabhadeva's personal presence here, all the animals in the forest were all liberated. So, just like that, just if we are in the association of Bhagavatam, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, we will get liberated. Simple. Simply, just don't do anything. Don't do anything. Just simply keep reading Bhagavatam all day, as much as possible. You will see how fast you will make progress. Whatever your anarthas, this, that, and all, this becomes Tibra Bhakti. Just if you develop a rati, taste for hearing, Dharma Svanushtita Pumsan Vishwashena Katha Suyaha Na Utpadayad Yati Rathim Mayevahi Kevalam. Svanushtita Pumsan. So, whatever occupation we are engaged in, if it doesn't generate rati, attraction to Vishwaksena Katha, Krishna Katha, Kamayevahi Kevalam, we are wasting time. So somehow our other activities should not create disinterest for hearing, or actually it should create interest for hearing. If it can create interest for hearing, then our life will become perfect. Srimad Bhagavatam is not different from, please remember. So there's a big difference between reading other books and reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Non-different. Of course, because it is Krishna Katha. Associating, reading Krishna Katha all the time will liberate us. Why liberate us? It will take us back. Please make it a point that you are engaged in if you are not yet developed taste for reading, hearing, then what should be done? What should one do if they are not developed taste for hearing? What is the solution?
Here, more here. Yeah.
No, but I don't have taste for hearing. How can I hear more if I don't have taste?
I think reading Prabhupada books, because that is also one.
No, reading is also hearing only.
Yeah. association of devotees, service.
I mean, general not be general answers for same answer for all questions. So there is a verse in Bhagavatam which says that Mahat Seva, by doing, actually after this verse only. Yeah. Shushusho Shaddadanasya Vasudeva Kataruchihi Yat Mahat Sevaya Vipra Punyatirtan Nishevanat. To develop affinity to hear about the Lord with care and attention, one has to serve pure devotees. This is the specific solution. This is verse 16, chapter 2. Shushusho Shaddadanasya Vasudeva Kataruchihi Syat Mahat Sevaya Shan Mahat Sevaya Vipra Punyatirthan Nishevanat. This is Sadhu Sangha. One has to serve pure devotees. Sadhu Sangha doesn't mean just come together and chat, talk about something. No, it is service mode. Actually, I've seen this also. Devotees, when they come in, association of other devotees, what should be our mood when we come in association with other devotees? What should our mood be?
To hear from them, Prabhu.
Seva.
Seva.
Mahat Sevaya. I mean, I give the answer and I again ask the question to just make sure that we have internalized. So we should be in service mode, right? Meaning we should be in the mood of a servant. So we should feel that I am the servant of that devotee. If you are not in service mode, if you are not in the mood of a servant, then we will think maybe I am equal to the devotee, I am greater than the devotee. Accordingly, we will deal right in the situation. If I think I'm equal to the devotee, then I'll be like casual, put my arms around the devotee, talk some casual stuff or talk on equal footing with the devotee. No. And if some devotee is like, we think that we are senior to that devotee, then we will take the position of instructing the devotee. It is okay, but the mood has to be of service. So maybe in the mood of service, I might guide somebody because that's my service. But the whole idea has to be that we should be in the mood of a servant. I see so many devotees actually who are only fixed in this mode. They make tremendous progress. Whenever we are in the association of other devotees, we have no understanding to consider whether we are better than that other devotee, whether we are on equal footing with the other devotee, whether we are on a lower footing with that other devotee, because we don't know the internal state of any devotee, right? Of course, we will understand based on their activities in Krishna consciousness, what is, etc. But either way, all the time, we should be in the mood of service. How can I serve you? Question should be when we meet devotees, it's like, how can I serve you? That should be the mood. Actually, it's very difficult, but if we can develop this mood, then we will actually develop taste for hearing. Okay. Anything else? Anybody? Please try to read this first, second, yeah, first two chapters of Bhagavatam again and again. See, that second chapter is like there's so many things. Specifically for second chapter, of course, the Bhagavatam is loaded.
Prabhu, first, second chapter of first canto, is it? Or fifth,
Canto.
first canto?
I mean, it's a foundation. It actually sets our foundation right. Everything, I mean, the Bhagavatam is important, but this is like foundational.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah.
My Guru Maharaj many a time says, how can I serve you? How can I serve you? I've heard this often, like whenever he meets devotees or something, he will always say, how can I serve you? How can I serve you?
Actually, I saw one video. It was like when my Guru Maharaj, Das Maharaj met his Holiness Jaipatak Maharaj, and I heard this. Actually, Jaipatak Maharaj with folded hands first said, how can I serve you? Because actually, Srikas Maharaj had gone to Mayapur and he met Jaipatak Maharaj there. And yes, so what Maharaj is saying, that has to be the mood. That has to be the mood. And unfortunately, we are always in the master mood only. No?
And Prabhuji, one more thing, I just
on festival I used to see Prabhu. He used to take a bucket and he used to serve prasadas actually. We are sitting in the prasada mahal and he used to serve prasada actually.
Yeah, that is there. But see, when point I'm making is when you have service, yeah, I've seen many devotees, sir. I mean, I'm not answering specifically with respect, saying with respect to Maharaj. Of course, Maharaj, all aspects will be exalted. But for our practical application, I've seen many devotees who serve for service, doing service, but their mood is not that of service.
I also was telling same thing to her. She asked
Yeah.
me, okay, I said, some people say with lips, how I can serve you, but I see with their mood won't be there actually.
And another thing I would like to share, like Guru Maharaj, if you any service you do to him, he would always fold his hand and say thank you, and you feel so. I mean, you just like, I mean, imagine him folding hands and saying thank you.
But he is teaching us.
You
See,
just
the
melt
point.
away, Prabhu. Like you just don't know. You're so flabbergasted. You just don't know what to do. Like every time you meet him, he'll fold hands. He'll say, what, how can I serve you? And when you do, he'll say, thank you for coming or whatever it is. But he will thank you in some respect or the other. Like, it's
See,
amazing.
the important thing is, one thing is about seeing these exalted souls, what they're doing, and yeah, deeply getting impacted by it. But more importantly is to follow in their footsteps. See, our problem is that we look at all these great souls around us, but we don't seem to be learning. Right? So we need to learn. We need to learn. I mean, they are not doing it for themselves. They are already so exalted, but they are coming down. Uttamadhikari comes down to Madhyamadhikari stage to teach, saying that this is how you have to live. Right? So we have to learn. We have to really, I mean, which is why every moment, Chaitanya Charitamrita says, Lavamatra sadhu sangha sarva siddhi hoy. Just imagine, Lavamatra sadhu sangha. Suppose say, you're in the association of Maharaj and then you just learn this one thing, saying that I'm the servant of all Vaishnava. Sarva siddhi hoy. We will achieve perfection. Nothing else needs to be done. But these are all so powerful that, but we are so much in ourselves. This is our problem. I mean, I keep thinking about myself also. Right? There's so much in ourselves. We are steeped in our own consciousness, our own, me, aham, mama, that we can't see. We can't see these things. We can't imbibe these qualities. Right? At least it's our good fortune that we are able to note these qualities and glorify. Right? At least that glorification of such a exalted Vaishnava will, Krishna will be pleased and he will give us mercy. Right? But really, the reason why these exalted souls, do what they do is simply to teach us. And we'll be extremely fortunate if we can learn from this. I've seen some devotees who are so knowledgeable, well-read, etc. But still, they will be very humble when they are, talking to others who are visibly at a much lower stage than them, knowledge-wise, bhakti-wise. But they are showing, they actually live that humility. They are, yeah, it's just a part of them, just a part of their existence, because they are pure devotees. And in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, 22nd, there's a description of those 26 qualities of Buddha. That humility
I think
is.
But this you say, it is sometimes this. But I get irritated if some devotee or Mataji come like folding a hand. It's like, hey, Prabhuji, I am your servant. I said, please don't talk to me like Mirabai or something like that. Please, practically, you should be practical.
No, but it doesn't have to require. See what I think what Prabhu is saying. See, it doesn't require. We don't need to show excessive humility outside, right?
Yes.
I mean, this is.
You can make out they are speaking artificially, actually.
Yeah, we don't want to be artificial, but see, folding our hands and seriously, sincerely, with the mood of saying that, how can I serve? Like, I mean, it can, if it is genuine, then it will not come across as some, yeah, there are so many devotees. They'll simply smile, like, I feel when I look at them saying that plastic smile, please don't do this. This is not Vaishnavism. Vaishnavism means genuine, being genuine, right? I mean, whatever, of course, if we are nonsense, yeah, let it be known to people that we are nonsense. But if we are sincere, let it come in let it appear in our behavior. Let us behave sincerely, right? And folding hands doesn't have to require, it doesn't require some, drama around it. It's a very simple way of respecting somebody and putting ourselves in the position of a servant, saying that, yes, I'm ready to take your order. But that mood has to be there, that eagerness to serve has to be there. But yeah, again, I mean, we are stuck elsewhere, and the answer to how to develop all these qualities is again Tivra Bhakti. Please remember this: to the extent of our bondage, to that extent our bhakti should be. I think this is my biggest takeaway today, this morning. Okay, I'll stop here. If else. Okay, Tantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Jai Gaurav.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.